You're listening to Real Life Italian, the Italian learning podcast coming to you from talkparrot.com.
Yes, this is Real Life Italian. Benvenuti, welcome. Without any introduction, I'm going to start this course, this special audio course, with the most important word you should know in the Italian language. So if you are starting right now your journey into the great Italian language, here is the word for you. This is the verb avere. Avere. Yes, I think it is the most important word you should learn as a first word. Avere. This means to have. To have. Avere is equivalent to the English have, to have. Now, when I want to say I have, so this shortens to a simple O. O. It is written H-O, but the H is not sounded like in English. You would not say it ho, but O. O. An Italian O. It is written H-O. O means I have. Now, all verbs that end in O, like I play, the verb will end in an O sound, like gioco, I play, or canto, I sing. This is a sign, O. Now, O is like taking avere, putting O in the end, and you've got O. So this is the shortest word you can make out of avere, the first and most important word one should learn in Italian. And why is it the most important word? Because, well, also in English, the have to have is a very important verb. You make many words with it, but in Italian, I think that the O is even more popular. It is more needed. It is like the basic, the stone on which the Italian language stands on. Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. The words O or avere, the verb avere. Now, of course, it conjugates. We will learn the conjugation of this verb in this lesson, because conjugating a verb is like gaining confidence in any language. Without being able to conjugate verbs correctly, you are just lost. I mean, you cannot drive this car. This car will just go mad. You will feel you have no control. You will lose confidence. So you have to know how to conjugate. Thing is, conjugating is simple in Italian. So we've already learned one conjugation without even paying notice. O is the conjugation of the first person I have. Now you don't have to say I in Italian, because all the verbs, as I've just told you, that end in O are of the first pronoun, so of the first person. So of course you know who's speaking. It is I who am doing the act, the action. So no need for the pronoun I. Now when I want to say you have, so the avere verb shrinks to I. So O is I have, and I is you have. And again, the H, it is written H-A-I, but it is not pronounced as high, but I. O and I of the avere verb. I have and you have. Of course, this is an informal you have when addressing a kid or somebody that you know, but Italians use this informal very quickly, so you change from formal to informal so swiftly today. So it's good to know that I is you have. Now I want to say you plural have. You guys have. This would make it avete. So we take the avere, change the re sound in the end. All the verbs in Italian and in ere, are, ire. So avere changes to avete, and then I can address a group of people. Avete, you have, avete. This is also the way to start a question. You don't need the do you have, does she have. No, in Italian you don't have the do, does, don't, didn't. These are a late invention of the English language, kind of late, like 400 years. It did not exist before that, and of course the Italian, which preceded the English language chronologically, did not need this did, don't, doesn't. It just uses the have also as a question word. So you can make it even you can turn it into a question just by saying avete, do you have? And now let's add another word. For example, tempo. Tempo, like temporary. This means time. So how would you say, I have time? Now remember, you don't have to repeat the I part. So I have time. Right. Or tempo. And you have time. Hai tempo. Do you have time? Remember, we don't have the do. We don't need to use the do in Italian. Do you have time? Hai tempo. Hai tempo. Do you have time? Do you guys have time? Avete tempo? So literally this means, have you time? Have I time? Do you have time? Without the do, right? We don't need the do. It does not exist. So we already are way into the conjugation. Now what is she has time? She has. It's not o, it's not I, it's a. A. Again, it's written H-A, but pronounced a. A. A tempo. She has or he has time. Also, this can serve for the form of the courtesy, lei ha tempo, like, do you have time, for somebody that you don't know well, instead of saying hai tempo. Of course, when you want to talk about a thing like it has time, also ha tempo. Now, I said before that the avere verb is more needed. It is more crucial to the language than it is in the English language, and here's why. If you want to say, are you afraid? Are you afraid? In Italian, you would say, have you fear? Have you fear? And you know how to say have you? And fear, the word for fear is paura. Paura. So how would you say, are you afraid? Informally addressing a friend of yours. Right. Hai paura. Hai paura. Have you fear? So we don't have the do you have? And we don't need to say, are you afraid? Are you? We just need the have you. In Italian, you have fear. And not just fear. Is it that you have, that you can have also thirst or hunger? So if the word for hunger is fame, what would be, are you guys, are you hungry, guys? Are you hungry? Addressing a group of guys or girls. Are you hungry? So we know that avere conjugates to avete. And now we need to add the word fame. Are you hungry? Avete fame? Do you have hunger? Literally. So you see that the words avere, the verb avere, is like the axis on which the Italian language begins to revolve, and you must know how to conjugate this verb. And now let's try to speak about them. They have fear. Now for them we say hanno paura, they are afraid, they have fear. Hanno sete, they have thirst, they are thirsty. Hanno bisogno di andare. Hanno bisogno. So now we have a new word, bisogno. This is need. And in Italian, again, you don't say I need, but I have a need. I told you, you cannot do without the have in Italian. You must know have. So they have need is hanno bisogno. They need, right? They need. Hanno bisogno di, they need of. Hanno bisogno di andare, they need to go. Now, if I want to talk about us, we have a need, then abbiamo, the avere changes to abbiamo. Abbiamo bisogno, abbiamo fame, abbiamo sete, abbiamo tempo, we've got time. Non abbiamo tempo. Non is the way to negate in Italian, so non abbiamo tempo, we don't have time. Non abbiamo fame, we are not hungry. Avete fame? Are you hungry, guys? So, believe it or not, you know how to conjugate the most important verb in Italian, avere. So from now on, everything is going to be easier, right? So let's see what have we learned. We know how to start with the first person pronoun I have. Oh, you have, I. She has, or he has, it has, a. We have, abbiamo. You, plural, avete, and they, hanno. O, a, I, abbiamo, avete, hanno. So with this we can do lots of stuff. Let's try again to repeat some of the things which we've learned in this lesson. What would be, I'm afraid. Remember the word for afraid? Paura. Paura. What is I'm afraid? I'll give you a hint. I have fear. Right. Ho paura. She is not afraid. Lei non ha paura. Non ha paura. Doesn't have fear. Non ha paura. They are not hungry. They don't have hunger. Loro, this is the word for they, loro non hanno fame. Or just non hanno fame. Non hanno fame. It is clear that we talk about the third person plural. Non hanno fame. And the verb itself is avere. Avere. The verb avere in the past becomes avuto. Avuto. And if I want to say I've had, I would say ho avuto. And they have had, hanno avuto. We have had, abbiamo avuto. So you see, the verb does not change in the past. It is always avuto. Avuto. You just have to remember that avere becomes avuto in the past. And then you can say I've had, we have had. Ho avuto, ho avuto. Ho avuto, hai avuto, and so on. Now, sometimes a word which is the word lo in Italian, this means it, lo. This tends to stick, to go together with o, and when they stick, instead of saying lo o, it I have, or I have it, lo o, it becomes lo, or ce l'ho, I have it. Without trying to translate now exactly the word ce l'ho. It's like there is, I have it, ce l'ho, I have it. Non ce l'ho, I don't have it. L'ho visto. So l'ho visto, it is not it seen, it is I have seen it, I saw it actually. And we have the words l'ho, ho, visto. Visto is the past form of vedere, to see. To see, vedere, visto, vista. Like buona vista, a good view. So, l'ho visto is l'ho ho visto. It's short for l'ho ho visto. I have seen. So, I saw it, l'ho visto, or la vista, if the thing which I saw is of the feminine gender. For example, la vista, la cosa, I saw the thing. Or if I'm talking about a woman, una donna, la vista. So the o can sometimes change in the way it is pronounced to a. Here's another example. Ho sempre avuto. Ho sempre avuto. Sempre is the word for always. Ho sempre avuto. I always had. I always had. Ho sempre avuto. Non ho mai smesso di amare. I never stopped loving. Non ho mai. Mai is never. Non ho, we know that this is I have not. Non ho. Non ho mai smesso di amare. So smettere is a verb to stop. Smesso is its past form. Non ho mai smesso di amare. Okay, another use of the avere. Quanti anni hai? Quanti anni hai? How many years you have? This is the way to ask how old are you. So we don't speak about old, being old. We just say how many years you have. Quanti anni hai? And anni is the word for years. Quanti is how much, how many. Quanti anni hai? How many years do you have? Boy. Ho 7 anni. I have 7 years. I'm 7 years old. Ho 15 anni. I'm 15. Ho 25. Ho 25 anni. 25. Ho 38 anni. I'm 38 years old. So this is another proof of the importance of the words of the verb avere. Some more examples. Ho tanti amici. I have many friends. Amici, friends. Tanti, many. How would you ask, do you have many friends? Addressing a friend of yours. Of course, you would know if he's a friend of yours, if he's got many friends or not. But let's try it for the language's sake. Do you have many friends? Hai tanti amici. Right. Does she have many friends? Now, we don't know much about her. Does she have many friends? Right. Ha tanti amici. So we drop the does, do, all these didn't, don't things just don't serve us in Italian, and we just need to do with the verb avere. Avere alone to make a question, to make a statement. And as I said, there are more questions and more words in which the avere serves us than in comparison to the English language. You just do everything with avere in Italian. Now, how would you say if the word for they is loro? They don't have much fear. And the word for much here would be tanta. So, okay, think about it. Loro non hanno tanta paura, much fear. They don't have much fear. They're not really afraid. Loro non hanno tanta paura. Non hanno. Are you afraid of the monster? So if the word for monster is monstro, now let's try to address a group of guys and girls. Are you afraid of the monster? Okay, so we need to say actually, have you fear? This is avete paura del monstro, of the monster. Avete paura? Do you have fear? Avete sete? Are you thirsty? Avete fame? Quanti anni avete? How old are you guys? Quanti anni? Anni. You have to stress there's a doppia N, double N there, so it has to be anni and not anni, which means something else. So anni. Quanti anni avete? How many years do you have? How old are you? And it's nice that the Italians don't celebrate the oldness but the life itself, and you just don't mention anything about being old, just how many years you have with you. Now, we spoke about the past and the present, believe it or not, but in this short lesson we are going to cover also the future. Now, avere, in the future, we need an R sound. If you recognize a verb and you listen to an R sound in the end of it, so you know we talk about the future. So avere, I will have, avrò. So we keep the O sound, which reminds me that this is the first person. This is me who's doing the action. Avrò, I will have. Now here the verb becomes like we get the full verb. Avere, avrò. It is closer to the full verb. We don't have this very short form like the one we have in the present. O. Since it is used so much, it got shortened because the verbs which we use the most are the ones who incline to break the rules, to change, to have some irregular form. But when we talk about the future, it comes back to its original. So avere, avrò. It is close to the original verb. Avrò, I will have. Now you will have, remember the hai tempo, do you have time? Hai sete. So we need the R sound for the future, and together it makes avrai tempo, avrai fame. Will you be hungry? Avrai. So avrai, you will have. And then avrete, avranno, avremmo, we will have, avremmo. I will not give you more examples for the future, because the future we can leave for the future at the moment, just to make your ears get used to the R sound, which has to do with the future when it comes to verbs. So avrò, I will have. Avrei, I would have. This is important to know. Avrei. Okay, I would have. The rei sound is would, and rai is you when I'm addressing somebody who I know. This is the informal way of you will have, and this is rai, and rei sound is I would. And of course it goes for all verbs. This is how conjugation works. So if I want to say I would know, this would be capirei. We have a verb which is capire, to understand, and capirei, I would understand. Capirai, you will understand. So this is some of just a bite of the future. Abbiamo bisogno di andare. We have to go. So until we meet again, alla prossima. Some future episodes of Real Life Italian. Do come back to learn more Italian with us. Till then, a presto.
This is a Talk Parrot production. Find out more at talkparrot.com.